Hey, what's going on YouTube? This Straw Hat Izzy, aka the Izzy Cruise, if you follow me over on Twitch. And I just wanted to show you guys today what I ended up playing and winning with in the beelzemon Cup that we had in my locals. Wasn't a lot of rounds, but I didn't have a lot of time to prep, and I want to thank Georgie a lot, who's on my team, for making the deck list and just letting me make a few tweaks. And we talked about it, and he stayed up with me really late. And the deck was great. I didn't drop a game, and even in like the little bit of testing I did do, I didn't drop a game. So it was really strong. There are definitely some cards that I wouldn't play again, and some cards that I would try instead. But because I was missing a few things, I didn't play those cards. And even if I had replaced the cards that I want to talk about with the cards that I didn't have, I still would have changed out those cards anyway, because I didn't feel like those cards did anything. But it's really cool. I got this little beelzemon winner card, which is pretty sick. And I'll show you guys the list. So obviously in beelzemon Cup, it's all purple. You can't play anything else but purple cards. The cards must include purple in them in some way, shape, or form, right? They can't be yellow cards that evolve from purple cards. They just specifically have to have purple in them. That includes your eggs. And so every match was going to be against a purple deck. And with that in mind, we thought about the purple decks that would be in the game and the purple decks that we would have to strategize against. And we kind of built a deck that was actually fairly good into all of them. And I think it worked out really well. So if you have your own beelzemon Cup coming up, your own purple cup coming up, I would suggest trying to play this. So I'll go on with the list. I won't keep you guys waiting too long. To start off for the eggs, we played 4 copies of beelzemon. This card is really good. You don't want to like draw a lot in purple mirrors, but you want to draw enough. So a thing I found is like if you're playing purple and you turbo through it, like you can just lose really quickly because you can deck out really quickly. But this card had really cool synergy with a bunch of other things, and I think it was the best purple egg for what I wanted the deck to do. So for beelzemon. Next we're going to talk about rookies. So we actually played 4 copies of Sukaimon. This is really cool. Like I said, this is mostly Georgie's list. I changed maybe like a couple cards, and then we just talked theory. And I just think it was really good. But Sukaimon was pretty strong. I don't know if I'd play 4 of it again. I think I'd play 4 of a different card that's I'm going to show you guys, a different rookie. But I also was lacking one rookie that I didn't have. I thought I had an additional copy of it, and I didn't. As well as maybe just a different rookie in general. But the Inheritable was pretty good. On deletion, gain a memory. So like if they pop your cards, you're gaining a memory, which is really strong. From there, we played 3 copies of Ignitemon. This card was really good. Being able to like destroy your own stack to be able to pop your opponent's cards. So an outed floodgate type of Digimon like Gazimon, which I thought was going to be very popular in this format. Turns out nobody was really on Kazi. Like they played it, but it wasn't prominent in their deck, which is something. But you know, I think it was pretty good. I don't think I'd play 4 of this because of the way this deck played. It doesn't really make multiple stacks at a time, but it can do that. So it has really cool synergy with other cards. Next, I played 3 copies of Gazimon. I probably would play 4 of this and drop Sukai down to 3. This card's broken in this format. Like purple decks use a lot of memory type of effects, and this card as a floodgate is just really, really strong. It was really good. I can't say enough how good Gazimon was. And then the last rookie I played was 1 copy of Dracmon. I'll kind of put Dracmon to the side for a second, but it was going to be... We wanted to play 11 rookies, and Dracmon was just the 11th one that we thought of. This was like a change I made that Georgie didn't have previously, but it was really good because of something in our deck list later. And now maybe this gives it away as I go on, but we played 4 copies of Gatomon. This card was really, really good. Really, really good. And obviously it continues to be really good in like Mastamon decks and stuff like that. Spoiler, it's not Mastamon, and when you see the thumbnail, you'll obviously know what I'm talking about, but it was really, really strong. This card was actually insane to be able to Digivolve to a rookie in the back and then hard play this, and force our opponent to have an out to it immediately. Because if not, it created a lot of tempo, and just being able to search was really, really strong. Then we played 2 copies of Black Gatomon. Rush is really good, Retaliation is really good, in theory, but the Rush was really why we played it. Like, this card was actually phenomenal. And then we played 2 copies of Meikumon. The reason we played 2 copies of Meiku was 1, it's purple-yellow, so that mattered a lot in our deck, and then 2, it's a security effect to be able to play itself, which in combination with other cards was really strong. but as well as in purple matchups, they tend to do a couple things. They tend to like rush you, or they tend to mill their deck. And a lot of the decks kind of chip at you, rush you. So if I just get a free body, they have to deal with that free body, and it was pretty impactful in combination with other cards. I'm gonna put this one to the side as well, so that I can explain the theory for the deck and why we played this card a little bit more when we get there. Next, we played 2 copies of Lady Devimon. Pretty good. It searches for Angel, Archangel, whatever Angel. I think I would have played the other one from BT11, the BT11 one instead, because you could trash a card and add back something. But this was really good. I think this is pretty strong. I definitely would consider playing the other one. The only thing with this one is like it's 6K. I don't remember if the other one is 6K, but this is pretty good. Next, I played 4 copies of EX2, EX1 Lady Devi, EX1 Lady Devi. This was really, really good. Like, this is actually the best ultimate you can play in this deck, and it's because of its inheritable. Like, the mill effect I used a couple times, and its synergy with Godamon is actually really good, right? But the inheritable effect was so strong. So strong with the combination of the other cards that we had in the deck. It made one of my other cards cost 2. It made like another card cost 3, and then in combination with different cards, it was really, really good. Like, if you're gonna play this deck, you have to play 4 of this card. Shout out to Georgie for this. Like, I know it's not 7K, so like sometimes you can't bring back off Hellscythe, but this one's really strong. From there, and if you haven't guessed it by now, we played 4 copies of Ophanimon Fall Down Mode. This card is insane in this format. I think this deck is really good in beelzemon format. The thing about purple decks is they kind of like delete your opponent's stuff. Like beelzemon deletes it, blast mode deletes it, right? There's other decks that just kind of like delete your cards, and this card just gives us value when it is deleted. As well as the fact that like this card recovers a card, making it a little bit harder for those rush decks to try to kill you. And if they don't kill you quick enough, they either deck out, or like you just chip at them and they can't really like do a lot to this card because a lot of their cards are just smaller than it. This was really, really strong. Like this card is phenomenal. Every time I went into one, it was insane. I could destroy it, and it did things in combination with Godamon. Just bringing back Godamon and getting multiple searches was really strong. So 4 copies of Ophani was definitely needed. It was insane. Next, we played 2 copies of OG Mastodon. We didn't play the Jogress one because we didn't think Jogress was going to come up, and obviously we didn't play any yellow level 5s. Maycrack was a consideration, but Jogressing and Maycrack didn't really do anything. I felt like it was kind of weak. Jogressing and then, whatever, didn't feel like it was going to do anything, but Mastodon was incredible. So a thing you can do is like Digivolve Gato, and then go into Lady Devi for 1, and then go into Masty, bring something back, mill their security, and then gain a memory because you played something off of the guys, so off of Masty, which was really, really strong. So Mastodon was great. It milled a security so we could play around security bombs like Deathslinger, but it also gave us back bodies, which was kind of hard for our opponent to deal with that time. So very, very good card. Last Mega that we played was copy of Creepymon. This card was super necessary, I felt like, because against Beelzemon, it just beats it. Like, you mill your trash, and then you mill their cards, and then because they mill their decks so quickly, you deck them out. So, this was just our win condition against Beelzemon. Like, if we saw it, we beat it every single time. If, we didn't need to do anything else with it. But, I actually never went into this. I never made it, never had to. But it was there in case I ran into that matchup, and I think it was good in theory. Okay, so that's for all the Digimon. Now I want to talk about the option cards. We played 4 copies of Flame Hellscythe. In purple, in purple mirrors, where deletion and your opponent getting deletion effects is like good. I was kind of iffy on this card, but it was really, really strong. Like, just getting a free body back is very powerful, right? And even if we killed one of their things, like, yeah, they might get something out of it, but we got way more value out of it than them. And them hitting it in security is pretty detrimental, especially if any of our tamers were on play. Like, if they hit a Hellscythe, their guy dies, we bring out a guy, and then we potentially gain memory. So this was really, really strong. 4 of it. I'm also going to put this card to the side because I want to talk about the theory of that card as well in a second. Next, we played 4 copies of Chaos Degradation. This card was really cool. My opponent at one point had an Ordinemon, and I Chaos degraded it so that I didn't have to deal with it later. This card's really good into stuff like beelzemon Blast Mode, where like if they hit it, it's just out of the way. Not triggering your opponent's inheritables, not triggering retaliation. Very, very powerful card. You find a way to cast it, even though we aren't playing any yellow tamers. But in security, it's a lot of value. Like, it's really, really strong. And I think it was definitely warranted at 4. So, very strong card. From there, we played 2 copies of Purple Memory Boost. We knew Gazimon was going to be everywhere. And our deck has more search than I think the other decks, just between, like, Gato and stuff like that. I think everything else has to rely on, like, a very heavy Eismon engine to try to draw their cards, and that requires Eismon to die. And if you're a true purple player, you know Eismon doesn't die. So, I didn't feel like we had to play a lot of this. And also, Gazimon's in the format, so if we had multiple and we just couldn't use this, it was rough. But we had a lot of outs to Gazi. Like, Ophani Fall Down was an out to Gazi, and that was just an inherited part of our deck. And a lot of other decks that don't play Fall Down mode don't really have, like, quick answers to Gazi, or they have to play, like, option cards. They have to evolve into these big old stacks. So, I think Ophani was really good in that regard. But, yeah, 2 Purple Memory Boosts. It just got us to the cards that we needed, which is really cool. Played 2 1-of option cards, Deathclaw and Calling. I'd probably play second Deathclaw in this format. This card is really good. And then Calling's obviously broken. So the reason we played the 1 Dracmon is so that we could Calling. After we use our Calling, we could play Dracmon, add back Calling, pop Dracmon, add back Dracmon, add back another card that we need, play this, add back Calling. It was just a way to loop Calling from the Darkness, because I think it's the most broken card in this deck specifically, as well as being the most broken card in, like, purple decks in general. And that's why it's at 1, or else we would have played maybe a second one. And Deathclaw, I definitely would have played a second one. But I didn't need it enough. It was just really good to be able to pop my own cards. So I wish I had, like, another card that could do that. From there, I want to talk about Tamer cards. So we played 4 Mako. I can't pronounce her name. Machizuki. This card was really, really good. Like, having multiple of this card, I remember my opponent hitting, like, a couple of these in security. Having multiple of this is insane. Like, Ophani swing, Calling from Darkness, pop, add back 2 cards, trigger Ophani, play out Gato, gain 2 memory because we have multiples of these, and then trigger, like, Sukaimon, gain a memory, and then Gato, search for cards. This card was phenomenal. And then just being able to fill your trash and be able to search for a yellow or a purple Digimon was very, very good. This card was great. Like, I wouldn't play less than 4 of this. And then the last 2 cards, they were supposed to be purple mats. I didn't have them, but so I tried out and Mako from the structure deck, and I never activated this card, not once, never had to. Even if it was purple mat, I never would have activated it. I don't think a memory tamer was that important, to be honest with you. So I think I would play, like, another Deathclaw and then some other card. The other issue with, like, playing 6 tamers is that I only ever really wanted to see Mako. And if this was, like, Murray doesn't really do anything in this deck because we don't play Angelmon. Like, gain of memory is cool, but to cost 5 is way too much. Yeah, I never had to cast this. This was whatever. Like, maybe I would have played, like, the BL Star option that, like, if it's trashed, because if our opponent trashes our cards, then we get value out of it. So that's something I'd consider, but yeah. I never had to play this. I don't think you should. So anyway, that was the theory of Dracmon that I went over. The theory with all of these cards was that if we looked at it, right, the purple decks all basically want to chip at each other. And with this lineup of cards, I know there's a little bit of a glare, just bear with me. This lineup of cards, it gave us 20 cards in security that if it was hit was beneficial for us. In some way, shape, or form. Like, Makeamon getting hit was a free body. Flame Hell Scythe was a free body plus deleting something. Chaos Degrade was getting rid of a card without deleting it. These cards were just additional memory that our opponent was forced to play Gazi so that we couldn't advance plays. This card gets us advantage. This card is very good. Makos are insane because they get us advantage. And then, like, this was the worst one, but it does give you some type of advantage because we can use it to gain memory at some point. And yeah, that was the deck. That, the goal was just build a security, or have a deck that like could get to Ophani, loop Ophani as many times as possible, like mass them on them when they're low on resources, and then because Ophani can recover, because you usually have Gatomon in the stack, or you have Black Gato or Mekumon, right? And then you got to like kill Gazis, you got to kill level 4s and lowers. Because you could do those things, you outlasted your opponent, and because you're not trashing your cards as quickly because you don't have Eismon package or like all these other packages that draw you a lot of cards very quick, you didn't have to worry about decking out in those matchups as swiftly. So it was very good. Again, shout out to Georgie, shout out to my team. It was really cool to be able to play Digimon. I know I've been kind of busy, and that's kind of life. But as I find the time and as I play in events and as I get the chance to do it, I want to be able to post more deck profiles for you guys, and I just appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully give it a try for your beelzemon Cup or even for fun, I think it's going to be a very fun deck to play with, and I don't think it's going anywhere. So just enjoy it, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.